Hi you guys, welcome back to another video. So today I am going to be doing a Q&A for you. I had uploaded a Instagram story asking you if you guys had any questions for me as being a professional hairstylist, and I'm thankful for all of you that sent me in some questions. Now, if you are new here, welcome. I am a professional hairstylist. My name is Ashley, and if you are looking into learning a little bit more about hair color, balayage, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button for more videos. So let's go ahead and get into the questions, and the first question is, how long have you been doing hair? So I have been a professional hairstylist now for 6 years. Actually, it'll be 6 years. March 28th is when I graduated. So been doing hair strong for 6 years. Next question is, where did you go to school for hair? So I went to Aveda Institute here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I loved it. My school experience was great. I think that when you are in cosmetology school, there's always going to be, you know, your ups and downs, but within just my school in general, I loved it. I love the Aveda color, and I also love their products as well. So next question is your favorite products to use and products you would never recommend. So I would say my favorite products would have to be probably anything professional. My favorite brands are Kevin Murphy, Pureology, and I do like Redken. Products that I would probably never recommend to anybody is products that you can get from like the drugstore, like Pantene or Tresemme. Stay away from those. Best products for dry and frizzy hair. I would definitely say probably to use Olaplex because it's going to add more bonds to your hair. But also another product that I love that I feel like doesn't get that much love from other hairstylists would probably be Aguage straightening gel. A lot of people get confused and they think it's an actual gel, but if you ever have curly hair and you want to straighten it or take away frizziness, you just put a dime size in your hand and put it all throughout your hair, and it will take away frizziness. So this next question is a good one, and it says how to build a clientele and how to manage your money. So I think one of the best things that you could do to build a clientele would probably get an Instagram, a Facebook, any type of social media, and post every single day, because when you do that, the algorithm will pick up on your post and push it out there more for other people to see. And when they do that, you know, people get kind of a little bit curious and they start to follow you, and then within time of seeing your hair posts, they might book an appointment with you. Also, I think just to be very friendly out on social media. You don't have to if you aren't comfortable with social media. There's plenty of other ways that you could do it too. You can go old school and make business cards and pass them out to your clients. They give to other clients. Or you could always go to the mall and staple little 10% offs and go up to people and ask them, you know, if they ever need a haircut, you're offering 10% off that day or whatever it is. That's an awesome way to build a clientele. And I think the best way to manage your money as being a hairstylist is get an accountant. And I have one because it's the best thing that I have ever done, because they check literally everything. And if you just want to be a professional and awesome business owner and within time of you growing, an accountant is going to be something that you may want to look into. They're also going to help you with your taxes as well. Next question is, what do you do when going from light to dark? And what do you know on how, do you know how to do extensions and eyelashes? So first question is, what do you do when going from light to dark? So if somebody is light and they want to go back dark, obviously you're going to have to bring out your color wheel. It's very important because that can kind of go into being a color correction. If someone is light, let's just say blonde, platinum blonde, and they're wanting to go back to like a level 4, then you would have to do a filler into the hair. And pretty much what you're doing is putting a filler into the hair of either copper or red to fill their cuticle of their natural undertone. That way, whenever you were to put on a darker color, she's not going to turn muddy or green. lashes. So I know how to do extensions, I know how to do tape-ins. I actually am wanting to learn on how to do the hand-tied wefts here soon, and I don't know how to do eyelash extensions. I want to because I think it'll be another great add-on to my business, and also to just, if I ever get tired of doing hair, I could also do eyelashes as well. So that I'm hopefully looking forward to learning, hopefully in the future. Question: how long do you let your toners process? So every toner is different for every person. I feel like if I'm doing blondes, I usually will let them sit for about 5 to 8 minutes. But if it's somebody that is coming from dark hair and their hair is a little bit brassy, usually I will let them sit for 10 to 15 minutes. So it kind of averages, so everyone's different. How did you get so familiarized with Shades EQ? So I actually like this question because I think I just got so familiarized with using it every day. So the first salon that I started off at, they used a lot of Shades EQ for everything, toners. They even used not Shades EQ, but the other Redken little bottles that look like shades. I can't remember what those ones are called, but they use those a lot. So I had a lot of experience learning from them there, and I like Shades because I feel like it's very self-explanatory. You know, if you are looking into toning your client like a caramel color, they have caramel 5G. So that's one thing that I like about Shades, is everything is really specific. Question is hair treatments, keratin treatments for blonde hair. So keratin treatments, I think you can get pretty much anywhere, especially at your local salon. Usually most people do them, but if you're looking for an at-home treatment, I would definitely recommend Olaplex. It's the best. Olaplex 0 and number 3, and also I think it's the number 7, the oil. Those ones I always recommend. Question: how long have you been doing hair? Have you always done booth rent? So again, I've been doing hair for 6 years, and I have always been doing booth rent. When I graduated school, literally that day that I graduated school, I got my little certificate. I still hadn't taken my boards, but I was very grateful that the salon that I was at let me kind of assist in some way, but also to let me start working. So I think after that, a month after I had gotten my certificate from school, I had then went to my state boards and passed that, got my license, and from that point on, I would say maybe only a month I was on commission, and then once I got my license, I started on booth rent. And I was very fortunate that the owner at that salon had given me that opportunity, because I was very grateful that I had a lot of clients from my school follow me, and also too, when I was in school, I started an Instagram, so that also helped me with building my clientele. Advice for assistants. With COVID, I feel stuck since classes are being given at the salon. This is a good question. So I would say if you are an assistant, learn everything that you can and take up that opportunity when you do have that time. I know with COVID, you're probably not getting the full time that you deserve. It's hard because I know, depending on what state that you live in and depending on guidelines for every state and also hairstylists, I can't imagine right now on how hard it is, but I think if you're an assistant and you're just wanting to learn, don't be afraid to get here on YouTube and start looking up videos. That is one reason on why I wanted to start doing YouTube. As being a hairstylist, for one, I was very inspired from some of my favorite YouTube hairstylists like Jay-Z Styles and Guy Tang. I love them so much, and I'm very grateful for all the messages that I've gotten over quarantine, because some people in school had to quit going and they felt stuck because they're like, I'm not learning anything, I'm paying so much money, I don't know when I'm going to go back. So YouTube has been helping them a lot. Start doing things on the mannequin to grow and make yourself better. That way when you do come around, you're ready to go and you don't have to be an assistant anymore. So next question is the best way to search for a new hair professional. The best way, I think, is Instagram and also maybe Facebook. Put your research on who you want to go to and what they specialize in. Usually if you're looking, let's just say, to get a balayage, make sure that you're looking for someone that specializes in a balayage. Or if you need a color correction or just someone that you know is good, make sure that you do your research beforehand, ask them questions. Usually most hairstylists are willing to give you a consultation, so I would say that's the best way. So next question is hardest reality checked after graduation. What made you open your own booth? I would say the hardest reality check was definitely probably, oh man, this is a hard one. I think dealing with the stress of clients, I will say that. Sometimes people think being your own boss or just being a hairstylist in general is always fun, and you know, you don't have to listen to anybody, you can make your own schedule. But I think what they leave out, especially in school, is how to deal with people. I will say this, I've had some hard times within the past 6 years, especially I think when I opened up my first, like not my first salon, because I don't have like my own salon. I just own a studio and I work from there. But I think the hardest thing was having to deal with like scheduling people and dealing just with so many different personalities, that there was one time where I had to literally quit doing color for like, I think it was 2 months that I did that, and I just did nothing but toners and haircuts. That's all I did, because mental health is very important. I was so stressed out. I think I had so many clients. That was kind of when I was getting to the point where I was getting so booked up, and I just didn't know how to deal with everybody. And I was just having, you know, you have those picky clients, and then you deal with people that are dealing with stuff in their own personal life that bring it to, you know, your studio. And you as a hairstylist, it's almost like you are a therapist. So I think that's the hardest reality check, to be honest with you, is dealing with that. There is sometimes too where I just have to take a break. And at the end of the day, you know, I realized that I don't care anymore on what clients or people think of me or my business. I'm in charge of my business, and that's all that matters to me. If they want to go somewhere else because they don't like the way that I schedule, then let them. You know, I have every single right to, if a client is giving me attitude or not making me feel comfortable, I will tell them and be upfront, because I think that's very professional to do. But if they are disrespecting me or anybody in the other, you know, salon in a bad way, I have every right to deny service. So I think that's probably the hardest reality. So next question is, how do you charge for your services? I charge, I think, pretty regularly like anybody else would. Balayages usually start off, depending, for a simple balayage, or let's just say a person that comes in that has hair to like, I don't know, maybe like right here, very short, has somewhat thin hair. Usually a balayage would be around 150 to 185, depending on thickness. And if they have super long, thick hair and they want a balayage, that can definitely range from like 200 to 250. And if they want a very rooty blonde with dimensions still, that I know is going to take me 2 hours to apply or more, it's definitely from like 185 to 250 again. I think it just kind of depends. Haircuts for me are $50, and everything else just kind of goes from there. Next question is, was the written part of your cosmetology test hard? Yes, it was. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I want to be honest and truthful. My first time taking my boards test, I failed the written test, and it sucked because I had to go back in and do a whole nother test. Sorry if it got really bright. The sun came out in like 5 days. It's been snowing, so that's really nice to see. But yes, I actually failed the first written test of my state boards, and I literally went back that next week and passed it. I think I passed with like an 85. But yes, it's very hard. I will say this, the written part of your cosmetology state board exam is probably the worst. For one, I don't know how other states handled it or how your guys's was, but ours barely had any hair questions. It was all concerning nails for some reason, and kind of like cleaning products and like what would you do in certain situations. And sometimes you would think like, oh, that's common sense. That wouldn't be the answer. So it was very hard for me. So also from the same person asking the last question, she said, what did you prepare yourself to do for the written test of your cosmetology board test, I'm guessing? What I did was, when I failed it, usually they let you know right away if you passed it or not. And when I found out that I failed, I literally like went home and cried because I didn't know what I did wrong. And they don't tell you exactly what you did wrong. They just kind of give you like, oh, you failed and that's it. So I remember I went home, and I was very thankful that my school, Aveda Institute, had prepared us really good with books And that was probably something that I should have done in the first place, was look at this book, but I didn't because I thought I knew it. And I went back home and I literally opened up that book, went through it, and went through everything that I remembered on that test, signed up again, went the next week, and I passed it. So I think if you're in school, make sure that you take notes on everything. Make sure, even if you have a friend, maybe just ask like, hey, like what's on there, so that way you are prepared. Question is, how do you deal with difficult clients? And the same person did ask another question that I'm thinking is kind of the same thing, but how do you deal with clients that don't like their end results? So when I have a difficult client, I'm not gonna lie, I stress out like anybody else would. Usually they're always new clients. Sometimes I have even my own clients that get kind of difficult sometimes. I think like, I don't know, I can see attitude, but I just kind of blow it off because I'm like, I gotta do my job at the end of the day. But if it's a new client that is very difficult, like for instance, I've had a couple that are always constantly wanting to know what you're doing, or they're looking in the mirror making sure like, what are you doing, you know, that could be very stressful. The way that I do it is I just let them know that they're in good hands, and if they trust me, then they have nothing to worry about. And that's usually what I do. I just kind of tell them it's a process, you got to trust it. And if a client is difficult and doesn't like her end result, usually right then and there, I always tell them like, you know, just, I think it's important to be honest with your hairstylist, to let them know that you don't like their, you know, what they did, the service. That way they can fix it, because I've had clients tell me that, or they tell me like way later, and it's hard because, you know, you just want to be upfront with them, but of course you might be a little bit scared. Best thing to do is just be honest and let them know like, you can tell me, I will fix it. Usually if they tell me they don't like it, I will fix it for them, and if they still don't like it, I will proceed to tell them like, I don't think it's best that you're here, maybe it's best that you find another hairstylist. And you know, from that point on, I think that makes them feel maybe a little bit more better, and letting them know that there's no harsh feelings. Okay, so the next question, I struggle so much with balayages, it's hard not to paint the top of the hair. Advice. If you struggle with balayages, don't worry about balayages. I think that right now balayage is like a huge term that's used for a lot of clients that see these pictures on Pinterest or Instagram, and they go into their hairstylist telling them like, this is what I want. I would recommend to not go into it doing a hand-painted balayage. And what I mean by that is maybe do another route, maybe do a foilage and do some foiling to where you're doing maybe slices, or you're weaving the hair instead of painting, because painting is very hard, and many people you know, they're really good at painting, but if you don't have a steady hand, if you're not used to it, I wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely try another route. I also have videos on this as well. You could achieve a balayage with foiling the hair like a highlight. So if you ever want to look that up, it's here on my YouTube channel. Next question after that was advice for fresh out of cosmetology school students. I think just get into a salon as quick as possible. Don't wait too long, because by the time you know it, it'll already probably be a year and you haven't really done anything. Get into a salon and get a mannequin, start doing care from home, start posting pictures, get your Instagram together, and I think that's probably the best thing that you could do. Or if you ever want to assist, find somebody, a local hairstylist that maybe you look up to, and ask them if they ever are wanting for an assistant. I know with me, I could always use one sometimes, but hopefully whenever I grow more, I will definitely look into doing that as well. So never be afraid to ask a local hairstylist if they need help. Next question is, I want to have my own studio as well. Process. I live in San Diego, California. Things may be different here. So if you're looking into going on your own, I would definitely say do your research. You need a business license, you need a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I think it's very important, if you will start a business, get an accountant, because they're going to know everything that you're going to need. That way you don't ever get in trouble into the future, because you're going to need like numbers, you're going to need your name. It's a lot of work. So highly recommend to start off with a business name, go get your business license, make sure that you have your booth rent license and obviously your cosmetology license. I live in New Mexico. That's kind of all we need in a weird way. I'm not sure on how California does it, so I would definitely research. Okay guys, so I know this might be long. I'm trying to get through all these questions. You guys literally had so many questions. I thank all of you guys for most of these. Some of them are kind of repetitive that I've already said, but the next question is from the same person. She asked multiple, and it says, when all you do is tone hair, do you wet the hair and then tone, or just apply it on dry hair? So there's many ways that you can do this. You can wet it. I personally like to do that, or you can leave it on dry. If somebody is looking a little bit more brassy, sometimes putting the toner on dry hair will help it soak up more. And if it's wet hair, there's really no difference. But like I said, if they are brassy and they need that extra toner, apply it on dry hair and maybe leave it longer. The last question is, when you do a root smudge with Shades EQ, do you use processing liquid or 5 volume? Always the processing liquid. I never go in with a volume, just the same, you know, whatever goes together with Shades EQ is usually what I will use. And if you're doing a root melt or like a root tap, I would highly recommend to leave it on longer. Don't leave it on just for 5 minutes, because sometimes if you lift the hair higher than like a level 7, it'll take longer because it's almost like a toner. So it will take longer to soak up. So I recommend that you probably leave it on for about maybe 15 minutes and then apply the toner. Okay guys, so that is it for this Q&A. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I know that I enjoyed answering a lot of your questions. I haven't done a video like this in quite some time, so thank you for all of you that sent in your questions. It means a lot to me. And like I said, if you enjoy my YouTube, please help and support me and hit that subscribe button and bell button for more videos. And I will see you guys and talk to you next time.